What's up, everybody? This is Renelle Golden, your host of Movie Making Podcast, where you'll hear authentic freeform chats about the people who make our movie industry tick. Movie Making with Renelle Golden is brought to you by Samira Entertainment, supporting indie films and the filmmakers who create them. Stop by their website to learn more. www.samiraentertainment.com. That's www.samiraentertainment.com. Hi, everybody. We are here with Anthony Sturmas today. He is a storyboard artist, designer. You're just all around very creative visually, and I'm so glad you're here with us. How are you doing today, Anthony?
I'm doing really, really well this morning. Right now, I got my coffee, I've got my notes, I'm like all prepared. I've been up since 5 in the morning.
Oh, wow. So you all good things. Maybe
Yes,
not at 5 in the morning. That's kind of early if you're not working on set.
Yeah. All right. I've been doing that for a while. It's just kind of like the early bird gets the worm. So
Do you get up and watch the sunrise, things like that?
Yeah, I do that
Aw.
too. Yep.
I love that. I love that. So you are a storyboard artist, and I know a lot of times I don't hear many interviews with them, but it's a position that I think is really critical and very important to getting us all on the same page for telling the story. So
Yes.
when did you get involved in becoming a storyboard artist? What brought you there?
Great question. I graduated from the Art Institute early, and it was in multimedia animation. But while taking this course, I ran into Bill Racinos, who was the original storyboard artist for Ghostbusters in the early '80s, the cult classic.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's cool.
yeah. So I was really intrigued how he taught me certain things and certain things to look for. And I found out that was a true importance of filmmaking before anything,
It
because
is. Yeah.
you can literally sit down with the director and have something on a napkin before anybody else has anything. It's done. You can have a
Right,
shot
right.
literally in seconds. And it's truly important because as I started to learn more in storyboarding in my earlier years, I learned that it helps generate ideas, identify shots, creating the whole blueprint of the whole film before even any film is being done yet. It's
Well,
just
you know
late.
what I think's great about it, because often the director needs to convey to like their director of photography, the cinematographer, what they're visualizing. And if you have it already in these images, then you don't need to struggle with that communication as much, because we're able to say, look, this is, what I want. And that's because of the storyboards. And a lot of people, in indie films, we do not use them as much as we should. And I know as I've grown, I like them. I get
I
them
agree.
done all the
Yeah,
time.
I think it's I don't know. I mean, it's just by an opinion. Every film director has their own way how they shoot film and whatnot. But I really think it's important, because if you're going to have the whole crew show up, and you're talking well over 10 grand in budget just on one day shooting a film or
Oh
even a
yeah.
commercial, I think it's really important to have a blueprint. What are you guys going to do? I mean, this is,
Yeah.
and having that there, whether you go through the exact storyboards, or it may even initiate different ideas pertaining to the storyboards, like, oh, we can do it this way.
Yeah, that's true. What's your process? So you get brought on to do storyboards for a feature film. Do you like rely on a shot list, or do you analyze the script and you talk to the director? Do you have a flow? What's the process?
That's a great question, and it's really important in the storyboarding. Normally, when a director reaches out to me, most of them haven't worked with the storyboard artists. Some have, and I normally try to make it as simple as possible. I ask them to shoot over a script. I look at it. I give it a rough board count after I read the whole script, and I tell them this is how many storyboards they're going to have regarding the entire film. and this is the roughly how long it's going to take me. It can be, a month up to, 6 months. It depends really on the action scene.
Oh,
Once
wow.
that's approved, the budget, and we get that moving, I have a ritual that I've been doing since literally since I storyboarded. Is I'll watch a lot of film almost pertaining to this film to kind of like generate and stimulate some ideas. So when I start storyboarding, I have some of these fresh ideas from watching the movie night before so that I can really do some really cool shots. Because storyboarding is really not just drawing boxes and whatnot, but it's really to like really draw out and really like put those shots on steroids, like really make it cool,
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of your work. That's why I was like, hey, come talk to me. Because
Yeah,
you're very good at what you do, and you do it almost like you do have the eye of a cameraman.
thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think I've trained it enough. I've been doing this a while, so I've got it pretty down now.
Yeah. I was looking at your IMDb. Oh my God, it looks like you've been so busy despite the pandemic for the last like 2 or 3 years.
Yes,
You've been
absolutely.
churning it out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's cool that you brought that up because I have some exciting things that I just finished recently within the literally I think from the beginning of the year, a little at the tail end of last year. The first and foremost was the commercial with the legendary Iggy Pop with Unagi scooters. That was pretty
Oh,
like mind
wow.
blowing. And then a car shield commercial with Ric Flair, which is absolutely hilarious. It's a take from the 1980s
Oh,
werewolf. It's kind
yeah, that sounds awesome. Do
of
you get to
funny.
go on set as a storyboard artist?
No, great question. Sometimes yes, but most of the times, I would say 95% of the time, it's from home, unless it's a special effects scenes. Then I'll go on set and then draw these scenes out from because I have to really interact with the director and on real time. But normally, when I'm working on a feature or commercial, it's mostly remote because there's really no reason why I'd even show up.
Do you ever want to go just because, like,
Yeah, that would be cool, and especially take a bunch of selfies and whatnot. Yeah, that'd be totally
yeah, right? They'll be like, no cameras on set, go away.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. What is your favorite thing to do storyboards for? Like a short, a feature, or now I hear you do a lot of commercial work too. Do you have a preference?
No, because they're all really fun, and every time a director calls me, and sometimes I don't even know who it is. Um, like it's pretty amazing. Like if I like the last director called me out of the blues. I didn't know what it was, and he was the actually the director from the film Stigmata in the early '90s.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
was like, whoa! I was like, wow! And but he wanted to per shot, but for every story, he wanted to be on a Zoom call and literally go through each shot through the entire feature film. I've never done,
Oh,
yeah, I've never done that, and that and to me, right off
that
the bat,
might have made me insane.
yeah, it did. It
Um,
was, yeah, it kind of like,
that's a little too hands-on.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And normally, what I do right now is like, I'll tell the director, I'll let him know, like, hey, by Friday or Saturday, after the whole week, I'm going to bang out about 100 or 120 frames. By Saturday morning, you'll have some frames in Dropbox. Check them out, look them over, and I'm start on the next set next week.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, it's pretty straightforward. And normally, rarely, I get any like, oh, you got to do these shots over. I mean, I pretty much hit them on the nail each
Oh,
time.
that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it's intense though right now because just like, okay, you got 2 months to do this, so you're like, okay, so like every day you got to meet a quota.
You got to remember to breathe because
Yeah,
you're just put your head down and get to
yeah,
it, I guess. Wow. Do you draw these by hand or you are
yes.
they
Yeah,
oh,
most of the times, if I have a scene that I'm not too sure about, I'll thumbnail it out. If
okay.
the director wants some feedback, like, hey, how are you going to storyboard it? I'll normally thumbnail it out and I'll shoot it over to him, and he may add or delete or whatnot, and then I'll storyboard it out. But when you're really on a time constraint, there's not a lot of downtime where you can sit on with the director and kind of have coffee. You're really, it's like you got Monday through Friday, the many boards you got to do. You got to bang them out.
So
Now,
if you're working with like a feature film that's just going into pre-pro, because
yeah,
I guess at the beginning of pre-pro would probably be the time that they bring you on board. They're fully funded, they've got their
yes.
A-listers, you know, and now they're ready to start getting ready. How long would you say that they should plan for before they even hire you? Because I put those
You
things
know
in
what,
my
Renelle?
budgets.
I agree. Planning and planning and planning is you. The more you do that, the more you're going to reduce the risk of some pretty like horrible, obstacles that
Bad
come,
stuff.
really bad stuff. And you know
Yeah.
that as well as I know. It
Yeah.
always, it never fails. It never fails. I mean, I would tell them at least a month, 2 months in advance, even more. I mean, if you can do that, great. That way you
So
have a
if they
lot
have
of,
4 month pre-pro, they should plan on the storyboard artist for at least
absolutely,
2.
absolutely. Because then you can have, you're not in rush for time. You're like, now you can
Yeah.
really thoroughly like study some shots, make it really cool. Like when I worked with Jared Lauder for The Inhabitant, it's based on the Easy Borden story of a woman getting possessed by the hatchet
Oh,
murder.
oh wow.
Um, it was cool because he had contacted me literally like what's like 5, 6 months before. So it was kind of like, I had fun with it. I wasn't in a rush. It was like
Right.
fun.
Right. Interesting. So how long did it take you?
About 2 weeks actually for
Oh,
that.
okay. That's not bad. That's not
Yeah,
bad at
because
all.
there was a certain scene that an action scene that he wanted a storyboard out to show his film crew. He had sent me some thumbnails, and it's funny because the director's like, "Don't laugh at my sketches," they're like really.
Yeah, that would be me, my stick figures.
And I'm like laughing. I'm like, bro, I've seen worse. Like, really, don't. It's all good as long as you can tell me what's happening. I'm good.
Yeah.
And
Have
I
you
even had people like take pictures. Like, this is how it's supposed to look. And it's all good. It's all
Oh, that's
good.
so funny. Have you ever worked with like when I'm writing and I'm doing a project, I like to not write out my the action scenes until I've actually consulted with my stunt choreographer,
Yeah.
because then I feel a little bit more empowered to, make sure I'm doing this right, and
Right.
how what I'm kind of picturing can translate. Have you ever worked with like the stunt people or not?
One time it was for a music video for MTV. Her name was Mattel Dohan,
Oh
and
wow.
that was actually all filmed on freeways.
Oh my.
And yeah, the stunt director, the actress actually, because she was going to be walking on the freeway. I don't know all the details, but I know the outcome of the video, the music video, is actually all green screen. But I remember talking to the director and to the stunt director, the stunt actress, and they're like, how are you going to do this? And it's like, and some of it is you just have to like visually think like you're there, do some research, and just get
Yeah.
the best input because they don't, they're guessing as well. So I try to
Right.
give
Right.
them the best information and like, I think this works better or this and that. And normally when they're asking for any input, I'll thoroughly do my research prior to the night and just kind of this is my best input, my best advice to do it,
That's good. That is good. It's exciting that you can do
Yeah.
that too. I have a question, because this is just a silly question, but um, multimedia animation, how is that different than animation?
Not different at all. It's just all different. You're dealing with marketing, you're dealing with film. The
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I
yeah,
have to ask, or I don't know, right?
yeah, it's okay. But in the same realm, it also showed, filmmaking, like,
Yes.
not only animation, but you can apply, After Effects and filmmaking, you can apply storyboarding and filmmaking. This is for, when you want to learn about filmmaking. And when I started out, I didn't know exactly what the whole curriculum was about, but I knew I loved animation and the whole process of storytelling inspired by Walt Disney as a little kid.
Are you also able to animate?
Yes, I directed a music video for Boy Boy West Coast.
Oh my
Where,
gosh, so cool. I have an
Yeah,
animation project. I should talk to you about it because we're just now putting together and it's hip hop music and
yep,
it's
yep.
very cool. Oh, that's so cool.
It reached, believe it or not, Renell, we did in less than about 2 months. I had a three-man crew. I had a background artist, an animator, and myself. I did the storyboarding and I also did some of the coloring. But we did it in about less than 2 months, and it reached, I think, well over 180, 200,000 hits.
Oh, wow, that's very
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Wow,
Pretty
it's an
cool.
area I know nothing about, but I've been asked to help. And I when I saw that, I was like, multimedia animation. My
Yeah,
brain's
yeah.
always
It's a
spinning.
little more intense because when you're doing film, you can delete, record. When you're doing animation, every movement is done by hand. It's
And you
all
don't have those retakes.
no,
Oh my
no.
gosh. Well, when you're doing animation, do you kind of create the character and then drop them? This is how dumb I am. Sorry. You drop them in like into the computer after you draw them or design them, and then you've got you animate then digitally
Yeah,
or
you pretty much nailed it on the spot. You'll usually do a concept art of the character. You'll
okay.
do, you'll do a full 360 of that character, front, side, back. Then you'll go ahead and render it out, whether it's in Maya or any 3D program, or if you're using Flash 2D animation, and then
Okay.
you'll take that character, put that into a program because now you have a 360 view of that character, and now you're ready to animate. When you
Very
animate,
cool.
you're putting that character on a background that I designed on a separate layer. So it's all in different layers. And then you record it, render, I don't, a minute and, the character's dancing. So you'll make them dance on top of the background layer, you know.
So making them dance, all of that is a digital function, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to draw
Uh-huh.
it in a
Yeah. Right.
okay.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just learning. I really don't know, but I'm like, it's a children's cartoon series. And
Oh,
I'm
very
just
cool.
so I'm getting so fascinated with animation. I'm like, oh my God. Um,
It's
which
cool. Yeah, it's
yeah,
cool.
it's super cool. So I'll talk to you about it. But what would you recommend like for anybody who is wanting to perhaps become like a storyboard artist in this industry?
Draw. If you don't like drawing, do not get into this field because it's 24/7 drawing. Draw, 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 draw. And it's a field that's growing. I think in according to the Bureau of Labor, I think it's expected to grow another 16%
Oh,
between
wow. That's
yeah.
pretty good.
So it's growing, and I think a lot of people are. I saw a lot of people on Facebook. Oh, AI is going to take over. It's like no, it's not going to take over storyboarding. It's not. I mean,
No,
this is my
why not?
opinion. It's not going to
You
happen.
need a little bit of emotion in that, like real thinking.
Yeah, it's a little bit more personal and it's different. But
Yeah,
anybody wanting to get in storyboarding, I have a lady now, a woman, a little girl actually. She's like 16, I think, and she wants to get into storyboarding. I'm like, and she's from Lithuania, my father's country, and I'm like,
oh
I'll
wow.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'll teach you what you need to know now, so you can be prepped and ready when you get ready for college. And she's
that's
like, what do I
cool.
need to do? And I was like, just draw, draw, draw. And the first assignment was just pick up give me a scene. It could be whatever, and draw that out, and draw and give me different perspectives and make it interesting. And you use
Yeah. Yeah.
um
When you first started, how did you go about, because this is something that's hard for everybody, but how did you go about like getting your first client? What did you do?
oh my gosh, that was nerve-wracking. That was so nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. I think my
Oh,
very first, it was somewhat my first because I did a little bits and pieces here, but nothing like I worked on the cannolis, which is a skit kind of like between the Sopranos and the Family Guy.
oh,
Uh,
cool.
it's
Okay.
hilarious. It's
Just the
actually
name is
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah. And that was like literally, I think like 10 or 11 years ago. And I remember he was from New York. So he had that New York accent. It was hilarious.
Whoa.
Okay. He's like, I need some storyboards. And I remember I was doing the storyboard and I was so nervous. I was like, He didn't know that. I mean, I came out like I was a seasoned professional,
And
but
then you'd go in the bathroom and vomit. No.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was nerve-wracking, but it worked out really well. I was actually surprised how some of the storyboards came out because I actually posted some of those on recently on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Like, hey,
Oh,
new
I wonder if
storyboards
those
like
are the
this.
ones I saw. How cool is
Yeah,
that?
and it's kind of cool, but I remember like right now, I was like, oh my God, I think it's like dealing with your first director storyboarding. It was nerve-wracking. It was
How did
nerve-wracking.
you get the job? Like, did you just like, hey, give me a shot, or did you go through it?
Yeah, and that's a good question because when you start out, you're not really going to get the same rate as a storyboarder who's been into it for 10, 15 years. It's not going to
Yeah.
happen. And I would really suggest some of the storyboard artists, beginners that want to start out, I'm not asking you to do free, but you'll also need to get some things underneath your belt.
Yeah.
However you do that, it's your discretion. But I mean, I think for the least the first 2 years, 3 years, I think I did a bunch of like, spec work, like, don't worry, just as long as you give me credit, because I was looking for credit, and
Right, right. I did
when,
that too. I've written many people like short screenplays and things like that, and they
yeah,
make them, and
yeah. And I
yeah.
think in this business, I remember, I forgot what director it was, but I remember in this business, like, I was like, how can I get into the deck of cards? Like in the LA, like in the scene. And he's
Yeah.
like, he's like, once you've worked on several films, your name gets bounced around in the city.
Oh yeah.
It's like you're good to go. It's like you don't even have to promote yourself. It doesn't hurt, but I mean, once you start getting your name in there, it's like it's all green. And I
Yeah.
think
You've
I
probably
think
come
now,
a long way, right? Like 11,
yeah,
15 years ago, however long. It's
yes. Well,
different
actually,
than
24
now.
years doing this. 24 years.
Oh wow. Wow. Well, you must
Yep.
love it then.
I do. I
Oh
do.
my
I
goodness.
do that, and I also do concept art. But I love storyboarding. I love storytelling.
Oh
I love
wow.
it.
Is there anything you haven't storyboarded for that you think would be really cool? Any type of film or I don't know, a book or
No, I've dabbled a lot of different things. Aside from storyboarding, I mean, I've done children's books. I worked on some few graphic novels that a lot of people came to me to do, but they didn't finish due to budget wise. They didn't have the money to finish it. But I've worked on several like concept pieces for graphic novels.
oh
Uh,
wow.
I do
Wow.
posters for films. I do a variety of different things, but as far as storyboarding, there's a lot of cool projects I work on. I can't really say I did it or I liked or I loved it all. It's
Do you
really
have a favorite project?
um yeah, I actually do.
Okay.
It would have to be the zombie film that I worked on 2 years ago with Robert. The film was called Z Dead End.
Yeah, we have a connection in common that was on that film, but he was probably background or something at the time because I
Yeah.
was looking at that and I was like, Z Dead End. So what made it your favorite? Just the
Just the
story or
story. The story's so different from your normal zombie film. It was actually really cool. It was like character based. Um,
very cool.
and it was really, really cool. It was like a lot of like, when I was reading the script and I told Robert, I was like, Robert, this is so cool, man. It's like I can't wait to storyboard it because I already visually see the scenes. I was like, I can literally like draw it for you.
Oh,
And
that's so cool.
yeah, and I can't wait till it comes out. I'm sure he's still in production, but
Yeah.
that was really fun because like it wasn't so much gore, but it was
Like the
really
that new one that's been out, I actually really enjoyed that because it wasn't all about the zombies, The Last
yeah,
of Us or something. I forget
uh-huh,
what it's called.
yep,
That, right?
yep,
Yep. And I was like,
yeah,
oh wow, we get to know the people. It's not just every episode is these, big epic zombie moments.
right, right. And the cast in ZDN is pretty
They're
cool. I think one
good.
of the one of the cops is the original actor from Jason.
Oh wow.
Was it
Wow.
like Ken Holder? I think it's Ken. I'll tell you right now. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Kane Holder. Yeah, Kane Holder.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
plays the sheriff in this film. It's hilarious. It's like the guy that played Jason in the '80s. It's like now he's the sheriff.
Now he's the sheriff. Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. Do you have one that you absolutely were like wanted it to be over? You don't have to tell me which one, but have you ever had one of those nightmare experiences? And
Um, yeah, yeah,
okay,
there was. Yeah, that
okay.
and that's only just kind of a lack of not really understanding what a storyboard art is and not being fully.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and when he had reached out to me, the shot list and just and I never saw this. I was like, this is really at like not normally the way I operate. I mean, normally, you know,
Oh, right.
right,
That would have
yeah,
been painful.
yeah,
Kind
and
of
the way he
painful.
did it was really different. And I was like, well, okay, I'm open to learn, but come to find out, it took almost twice, three times the amount of dragging this out when he wanted something, and it was just a lack of communication and
It's the
understanding.
learning process, especially, as you get, I know from the filmmaker side, as we get more and more experienced, um, we bring in more and more elements that we might not have had,
Yeah,
and storyboarding is one that, I'm finally able to do more, and I love it, but it's a little scary on the filmmaker side too. Like, what do I do and what am I supposed to do with this? And
yeah, yeah, and normally on most commercials and feature films, I normally have a status call with the director, kind of
uh,
like to see what is his concerns might be,
yes,
and
that's
if
very
he's a
good.
little, yeah, like if he's nervous about some certain and so when I get to that scene, I can better I'll put more of attention to that scene and maybe do some more research on that. Um,
Yeah, I love that. That's very good. So I'm going to switch gears in a minute here, but where can people find you?
various ways. You can go to sturmas.com, which is ASTURMAS.com. There's a contact page there. Also, some
Perfect.
of my work. You can also reach me on Instagram at Anthony Sturmas. You can also reach me at Facebook at Anthony Sturmas and on LinkedIn at Anthony Sturmas.
Oh my God, I see a pattern.
Yes,
Anthony Sturmas, anywhere you
right.
look. There you
Keep it
go. And
simple.
then
Keep it simple.
sturmas.com. So we're gonna have to end here soon, but I wanted to switch and do something for fun that I kind of do with everybody. It's
Okay.
very stressful, and hopefully you'll be able to handle it. There's a test
All
at
right.
the end.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So basically it's 5 for 5, 5 questions, pretty much in 5 minutes, give or take. Don't
Okay.
time me. And it's just for people to know you a little bit better and who you are as a person.
Perfect.
All right. So when you're ready, I'm going to start.
I'm ready.
Okay, cool beans. All right. First question. What is your favorite food?
Italian.
Italian? Yes.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Uh,
All right. Favorite thing to drink after a long day at work?
lager, black lager beer.
Okay, that's very cool. What is one thing you've always dreamed of doing but haven't done yet?
That's nerve-wracking. I always want to do bungee jumping, reversal, but I just don't have the guts to do it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I have a lot on my list like that, but I don't know that I dream about it. I dream about not doing it.
Yeah, I love the adrenaline.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's pretty cool. Somebody said running with the bulls, and I was like, why would you want to do that? And then they were like, well, it happens on my birthday every year. And I'm like, oh,
Well,
okay.
there's actually one more, and it's
Oh,
I since I was a child, I've always wanted to do this. Always wanted to get a boat, and go out the middle of the ocean at night and just stay overnight in the middle.
oh, that's a wonderful thing to do. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we were young, when I was a kid, that was something we did. We could still see land, but we're out on the boat. But okay, your favorite song to sing at the top of your lungs when you're in the car?
It's the you may have to help me on this. It's that song from Ferris Bueller Day Off, the Beatles song.
Oh,
Um,
oh my God.
uh, oh gosh, I can't. It's like that you put me on the spot. But it's that one song from Ferris Bueller. I love that song. It's
Okay,
from
if
the
you
Beatles.
remember it, you can call me back and I'll
Okay,
record it while you
perfect,
sing it. And
perfect. We do some karaoke. We do some karaoke.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, last question. And this is probably the hardest for most people in our industry. But what is your favorite movie?
Goonies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just playful, it's fun, it's kind of the stuff that we did as kids, adventure. Uh,
Yeah.
it's everything in one pot. It's really hilarious. It's just cool. And the bond between friends.
Yeah.
Friendship is really, to me, is an honor to have a good friend.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah, and
Wow.
it resembles that a lot.
I love that. Well,
Yeah.
I am so very grateful that you joined me today and we had this conversation. You are awesome. I hope you'll come back again.
Thank you so much, Renee. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, thank you. And I will talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Today's show is sponsored by Gym Kitty, helping women on their health and wellness journey by providing high-quality, organically sourced vitamins and supplements. Visit them today at www.gymkitty.net. You've been listening to Movie Making with Renelle Golden. Be sure to come back for our next episode where we bring you the people who make movies you love. Got a topic about filmmaking you want to hear on our podcast? Send us an email at moviemakingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
This podcast has been sponsored by Samara Entertainment.